The return of former AEW World Champion Hangman Adam Page is teased last night on AEW Collision. WWE reportedly is frustrated by the amount of Fox censorship during Friday's edition of SmackDown from Madison Square Garden. Hikaru Shida advances to the Women's Owen Hart Foundation Cup semi-final after a victory last night on Collision. EJ and Duca appears with Swerve Strickland last night on TNT 2. Jeff Cobb will team with Chris Jericho and Big Bill at Forbidden Door tonight as he replaces Brian Keith. Speaking of Jericho, he made a surprise appearance in Arena Mexico, attacking Mystico in a CMLL show. Rhea returns to AEW last night on Collision, confronting Serena Deeb. Several more matches have been confirmed for the Forbidden Door pay-per-view tonight, and Bryan Danielson gives an insight into his creative role in AEW. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off talking about Hangman Adam Page as he gets closer and closer to a return to AEW television with a vignette airing last night on AEW Collision. Hangman Adam Page is on the verge of a return. During the June 29 edition of AEW Collision on TNT, a vignette was shown of Hangman Adam Page drinking in an empty house. Highlights were shown of Matthew and Nicholas Jackson suspending him from the Elite, and Swerve Strickland breaking into his home during his feud with the now current AEW World Champion. Interestingly enough, there was also a photo shown of the Elite featuring current undisputed WWE Champion Cody Rhodes. Of course, Adam Page has not been seen since he competed for the AEW World Championship back at AEW Revolution. Of course, it was in a match involving Swerve Strickland as well as then champion Samoa Joe. Now, the Young Bucks have said they would be inserting a wild card into the Men's Owen Hart Foundation Cup tournament. Fightful Select had previously reported that Hangman Adam Page was planned for a return to AEW, with some speculating that Hangman could be the wild card that is inserted into the tournament. But the question is, after his suspension from the Elite, is he going to be coming back as a babyface? Is he going to be coming back as a heel? Is he going to be aligning with the Elite? Or is he going to be feuding with the EVPs? Let me know your predictions about that in the comment section below. Now, SmackDown on Friday, there was a bit of censorship and a bit of frustration from those in WWE. Now, new reporters indicated WWE was frustrated over censorship during the Fox broadcast of SmackDown on Friday, June 28. Now, many fans took to social media during the show to bemoan the censorship throughout the evening, with transmission muted out or cut off to censor expletives picked up in the audio or something that was picked up on the screen, leading to a blackout. Now, it must be stressed that this censorship only occurs on Fox. It doesn't occur on an international feed, such as fans over here in the UK. Now, after which, Fightful Select has reported that several within WWE had indicated they were frustrated over the censorship, with one longtime talent reportedly looking forward to the impending move back to the USA Network, quoted as saying, quote, "It is a chore to watch sometimes. I understand censoring F the Pacers, but it feels like every segment is edited and it makes us look like it's our production," end quote. Now, several expletives were censored during the match between Logan Paul, LA Knight, and Santos Escobar to qualify for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Paul was joined by Indiana Pacers point guard Tyrese Halliburton for the bout, who attempted to retrieve Paul's signature brass knuckles to win the contest. However, Jalen Brunson of the New York Knicks jumped the guardrail from his front row seat to balance the odds. The confusion allowed for Knight to pin Paul to qualify for the Money in the Bank ladder match, but there was an audible F the Pacers chant levied towards Halliburton. Elsewhere, the screen cut black during Nia Jax's entrance, aiming to censor what appeared to be a child flipping the bird in the audience. SmackDown will be moving back to the USA Network on September 13, with WWE's broadcasting deal with Fox due to expire directly beforehand. What are your thoughts on the censorship, and are you, like the WWE talent, looking forward to seeing SmackDown back on USA Network? And also, of course, Triple H did say earlier this week that with Raw moving to Netflix, it's looking more and more likely that they don't have to worry about expletives being, I guess, bleeped out or screens going black or anything like that. So what's your thoughts on it? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Now, going back to AEW Collision last night, Hikaru Shida has advanced in the Women's Owen Hart Foundation Cup tournament. Prior to Saturday evening, it had almost been 6 months since Hikaru Shida competed on AEW programming, and almost 3 months since her last Ring of Honor match. And she became the latest conquest of Ring of Honor Women's World Champion Athena at Supercard of Honor over WrestleMania weekend. 2 weeks ago, however, Shida announced via a video package that she was entering the 2024 Women's Owen Hart Foundation tournament, and Saturday on AEW Collision, Shida made her return and emerged victorious, pinning Deonna Purrazzo to advance to the semi-finals. It was the first ever in-ring meeting between Shida and Purrazzo, who lasted 9 minutes with the former 3-time AEW Women's World Champion before suffering a thunderous katana that eliminated her from the tournament in the first round. Shida appeared to have potentially suffered a shoulder injury during the contest, though whether it was legitimate or in storyline was unclear. After the match, Purrazzo attacked Shida and was about to hit her with her own kendo stick when Thunder Rosa ran down to make the save, continuing the heated rivalry between Rosa and Purrazzo. Now, the winner of the Women's Owen Hart Cup earns a Women's World Championship match at All In at Wembley Stadium later this year, where Shida's second title reign, of course, ended last year at the hands of Saraya. Assuming reigning champion Timeless Toni Storm is still holding the title come August 25, Storm versus Shida would be one of the most intriguing possible matchups. Storm ended Shida's third title reign back in November at Full Gear, making the two of them the only women to have held the championship 3 times. Storm is also chasing Shida's record for combined days as champion. If she makes it to All In with the belt, she'll be just 2 weeks away, meaning Wembley could be Shida's last chance to defend her record and win the title for a record 4th time. To even get there, however, she'll have to defeat either Saraya or Storm disciple Mariah May in the semi-finals. Saraya and May will meet in first round action this Sunday at the Forbidden Door 0 Hour pre-show, and then get past the winner of the grudge match between Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander that's set to go down Wednesday on AEW Dynamite Beach Break. Now, speaking of Collision last night, we saw EJ Nduka finally in a more prominent role, seemingly on AEW television. The judge is part of Swerve's house. Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland had the weigh-in for the AEW World title match on the June 29th episode of AEW Collision. Of course, their title match taking place tonight at Forbidden Door. In Strickland's corner was EJ Nduka, a former WWE NXT wrestler who's also competed for MLW. Now, again, this is quite interesting because Nduka seemingly has been under contract for AEW for quite some time, and Nduka had been wrestling dark matches for AEW, including at the June 26th AEW Dynamite tapings. The weigh-in, I guess, presumably and expectedly, turned into a brawl, with Ospreay laying out Swerve with a hidden blade ahead of their title match this evening. As I mentioned, Swerve Strickland will defend the AEW World Championship against Will Ospreay at the AEW New Japan crossover pay-per-view Forbidden Door tonight live. Now, speaking of Forbidden Door, Jeff Cobb is going to be the tag team partner for Chris Jericho at the pay-per-view this evening. Chris Jericho has brought in his hired gun. Jeff Cobb was revealed as the partner for Chris Jericho and Big Bill at the AEW and New Japan Forbidden Door crossover pay-per-view. The trio will face Samoa Joe, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata. Cobb sided with Jericho, Bill, and Brian Keith in a brawl with Joe, Hook, and Shibata on the June 29 episode of AEW Collision. Keith is currently sidelined with an injury and unable to compete in the trios match. Jericho initially thought he could enlist the help of Minoru Suzuki on AEW Dynamite, but Suzuki instead challenged Jericho for the FTW Championship at a later date. Jericho secured Cobb's services during the June 28th episode of AEW Rampage. Jericho and Cobb had previously worked together in AEW when Jericho brought in Cobb as a hired gun during his feud with Jon Moxley back in February of 2020. Cobb obviously has the ties to New Japan Pro Wrestling as the reigning New Japan World Television Champion. He originally issued an open challenge for Forbidden Door, but that was never made official. Now he's going to be competing in this trios match instead. Now, it's been a busy few days for Chris Jericho because he actually appeared in Mexico. Chris Jericho returned to Arena Mexico to attack CMLL star Mystico ahead of this weekend's AEW and New Japan Forbidden Door event. CMLL stars, including Mystico, are prominently featured on the Long Island event's card this Sunday, but Jericho will be going the other way as he challenged Mystico to a match at the July 5th CMLL show. The Learning Tree dropped Mystico with a code breaker and a Judas effect during Friday's event in Mexico, appearing backstage to cut a promo in both English and Spanish. He said, quote, "I'm very happy to be here. It's been a huge part of my life in Mexico and wrestling in Mexico City and living in Mexico City and all across across the country. I have gone on to do many great things in my career. Many people say I'm the greatest of all time. Mystico, I will challenge you anytime, any place, anywhere. You say the word. You call Arena Mexico your house. 30 years ago, Arena Mexico was my house, and I'm coming back to take my house away from you, Jericho said. Now, both Jericho and Mystico will be in action with separate trios matches scheduled for Forbidden Door. Mystico will be teaming with the Lucha Brothers, Penta El Zero Miedo and Rey Fenix against Yota Tsuji, Titan, and Hiromu Takahashi on the 0 Hour pre-show. As I mentioned, Jericho will be involved in that trios match that we just spoke about previously. Now, Rhea also made her return to AEW television last night on AEW Collision. She is back in All Elite Wrestling. On the June 29th episode of AEW Collision, Rhea made her return to the promotion, confronting Serena Deeb. Deeb had just defeated Kelly Madden and called out anyone to challenge her. Rhea came to the ring and stood face-to-face with Deeb before the latter backed away. Now, Rhea has not wrestled since losing to Willow Nightingale at AEW Dynamite Big Business back in March in Boston, Massachusetts. So Rhea is now back on AEW television. Now, we spoke about the matches for Forbidden Door this evening, and it's a pretty loaded card when you take into account the 0 Hour pre-show and the main card. Now, the day before today's AEW and New Japan Forbidden Door pay-per-view, the crossover event, the card was up to 12 matches with another likely but not confirmed. Now, as of Saturday's AEW Collision, not only has that match been made official, but another has been added to take the show up to a total of 14 matches, which is a tie for the second largest card in AEW history. Now, we spoke about the match involving Chris Jericho, Big Bill. In addition to that, now Jeff Cobb facing off against Shibata, Hook, and Samoa Joe. But if that wasn't enough, AEW President and CEO Tony Khan later added a full-way tag team match to the 0 Hour pre-show, bringing the number of pre-show matches up to 4. The House of Black, that being Malachi Black and Brody King, also known as Kings of the Black Throne, will face the team of Kyle O'Reilly and Tomohiro Ishii, Roderick Strong and Gabe Kidd, and Private Party in this four-way tag team match you can see on the screen right now. With 14 matches, Forbidden Door 2024 ties last year's inaugural Wrestle Dream event for the second highest total match count on an AEW card. Notably, Cobb had previously announced an open challenge for his World TV title at Forbidden Door, but of course that now looks like it's not going to happen. But in the unlikely event that would happen, the show would tie All Out 2022 for the most matches ever on an AEW pay-per-view with 15. So what do you make of just the sheer volume of matches that we can see on this Forbidden Door card? Is it too many? Does AEW need to shrink the pay-per-view card down? Let me know your predictions and thoughts on that one too. And finally, Bryan Danielson has opened up on his role in AEW when it comes to a creative influence. With Bryan Danielson currently on the final full-time run of his wrestling career, many have come to believe that the American Dragon has some, if not all, the say on what he does and doesn't do in AEW. Since announcing that he would be stepping away from full-time wrestling in September 2023, Danielson has wrestled dream matches in the Tokyo Dome, Arena Mexico, and has mixed it up with a variety of opponents all over the world, combined with AEW's reputation for handling talent, the keys to their creative. Those appearances seem to lend credence to the idea that Danielson is driving creative influence in his own farewell tour. However, that's apparently not the case, as Danielson revealed in an interview with Sports Illustrated that he absolutely has no control over his creative direction. He said, quote, "Here's the truth. I don't want anything to do creatively with my own stuff," Danielson said. "I also don't know where people get that notion that I do. It's very hard in wrestling to be objective about yourself, so I'll leave that in the hands of other people." Danielson claims that he didn't have any say in his creative during his time in WWE either, even when given a chance. He said, quote, "That was the same thing in WWE, even when I was a part of the creative team," Danielson said. "The head writer of SmackDown at the time, Ryan Callahan, asked me what I wanted to do, and I remember saying, I don't want to talk about what I wanted to do. I don't think you can be objective about that kind of stuff." So, Danielson saying he's never had creative influence in WWE or AEW when it pertains to his own career. Danielson, meanwhile, is currently set to compete in the Men Owen Hart Foundation tournament, with his first round match against New Japan's Shingo Takagi taking place at Forbidden Door this evening. But there you go, guys. Latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.